Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. Yesterday in our devotion, we focused on the fact that God's people's oppressors would be taken down. That is, Babylon would be taken down, the ones who were oppressing them. And that ultimately God's people would be able to taunt over their enemies and have the victory over them. And today has a similar, or today's reading has a similar message, except for the fact that the ones that are destined for judgment in today's reading is Egypt, who were actually seen as allies to Israel and to Judah in a lot of ways, in that they would go to Egypt oftentimes to seek help, to seek resources and horses to fight their battles. And oftentimes they would go to Egypt instead of turning to the Lord. And they oftentimes trusted in Egypt more than they trusted in God. And we're told in Isaiah today that Egypt was going to be taken down as well. And so this teaches us yet another lesson. It is true that our enemies will one day fall. It is true that one day our oppressors will one day cease, as we talked about yesterday. But it's also true that those that we trust in ultimately will fall. And those that we trust in will ultimately not be sufficient. Oftentimes we trust in things that really can't help us. Of course, there's nothing wrong with using the resources that God provides, in that or as long as we are trusting ultimately in the Lord. But sometimes the resources God provides actually replaces God, and we begin to trust in those resources more than we do in God. For instance, we might trust in the doctors more than we trust in God, or we might trust in our loved ones, or those that we are in a relationship with, or our friends, or our coworkers, more than we trust in the Lord. And even though the Lord might utilize these various groups of people to help us and to aid us in life, they can usurp God in the sense that we begin to focus more on them than we do on God. And so that can be a dangerous situation. But we got to understand that, all the help that we receive from the world and from the people that we know is just temporary. That only God is eternal. Only God is sovereign. Only God has ultimate power. And so we ought to trust in the Lord more than we trust in other people. And if the Lord so chooses to utilize other people to render us assistance, that's wonderful and that's great. And we should praise God and be very thankful for those people who are living in alignment to God's will and assisting us. But ultimately, we got to give the credit, we got to give the recognition to God, and to ultimately place our faith and our trust in Him. And hopefully our reading today will help us to realize this and really have this impressed on our hearts. And so as we read about Egypt today in our reading, let's be reminded of the fact that God is ultimately in control, and that all the help that we receive on this earth is just temporary and isn't really the ultimate help that we should trust in. But that we should always trust in the Lord, because He is the one that is the most powerful. He is the one that is the most dependable. He is the one who is most faithful. And as we place our trust in Him, our trust is placed in a reliable source. And we can trust Him all the days of our life. So these are some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.